ब्रह्मोवाच अतः तस्यो सतीं देवीं ऋषिकुल्यां सरस्वतीं नास्वाद्यमन्युदस्तानां तेषाम् आत्मापि अतृप्यत। ब्रह्मोवाच अतः तस्यो सतीं देवीं ऋषिकुल्यां सरस्वतीं नास्वाद्यमन्युदस्तानां तेषाम् आत्मापि अतृप्यत। Brahmovacha, Lord Brahma said, Ata, now, Tasya, of the Supreme Lord, Ushatim, lovely, Devim, shining, Rishikulyam, like a series of Vedic hymns, Saraswatim, speech, Na, not, Aswadya, hearing, Manyu, anger, Dastanam, bitten, Tesham, of those sages, Atma, the mind, Api, even though, Atrupyata, satiated. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Brahma continued, even though the sages had been bitten by the serpent of anger, their souls were not satiated with hearing the Lord's lovely and illuminating speech, which was like a series of Vedic hymns. Please repeat the translation. Brahma continued, even though the sages had been bitten by the serpent of anger, their souls were not satiated with hearing the Lord's lovely and illuminating speech, which was like a series of Vedic hymns. Next verse I'll recite myself. Satim vyadhaya shunvato lagavim guru artha gahvaram vigahyaghada gambiram na vidustak chikirshitam. The Lord's excellent speech was difficult to comprehend because of its momentous import and its most profound significance. The sages heard it with wide open ears and pondered it as well. But although hearing, they could not understand what he intended to do. Purport. It should be understood that no one can surpass the Supreme Personality of Godhead in speaking. There is no difference between the Supreme Person and his speeches, for he stands on the absolute platform. The sages tried with wide open ears to understand the words from the lips of the Supreme Lord. But although his speech was very concise and meaningful, the sages could not completely comprehend what he was saying. They could not even comprehend the purport of the speech or what the Supreme Lord wanted to do, nor could they understand whether the Lord was angry or pleased with them. Doesn't see Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Lord Brahma is describing the events that happened in Vaikuntha, at the entrance of Vaikuntha. So, when the Kumaras felt offended by Jaya Vijaya, when they were about to curse, Lord appeared there to pacify the situation. So, Lord spoke pleasingly to the Kumaras. So, after hearing the words of the Lord, what was the Kumara's situation? That is explained in these two verses. Brahma Vacha, Lord Brahma is explaining, Atah tasya ushatim devim. Ataha, then what happened after Lord spoke? Tasya ushatim devim. Rishikulyam Saraswatim. The words which emanated from the Lord Saraswatim, the speech of the Lord, was Ushatim, it was very lovely. Devim, it was shining. How Lord's words can be shining? Is there something special? Shining in the sense, when it entered the hearts of the devotee, they experienced that enlightenment. Understood? When that words inspired them, they become very much favorable to them. So that's what it is said. Ushatim Devim Saraswatim Rishikulyam. It was like a series of Vedic hymns. How systematically prayers were offered to the Lord. The Lord's speech was like something like Vedic hymns, which were systematically offered. Nasvadya manyu dashtanam. Na asvadya. They are not able to completely absorb that points. Why? Because manyu dashtanam. The moment before they were all fully angry. When somebody is in anger mood, consciousness does not work properly. Material consciousness. So, manyu dastanam, anger has overtaken their consciousness. So, feeling that not completely satisfied, even though they had heard about the Lord. Na asvadya manyu dastanam tesham atmapi atrupyata. Their souls were not yet satiated. Even though they have been hearing from the Lord, but they were not completely satiated. So it says, Brahma continued, even though the sages had been bitten by the serpent of anger, atah tesham anyu dastanam, their souls were not satiated. Atmapi na atrupyata. With hearing the Lord's lovely and illuminating speech, asvadya tasya ushatim devim saraswatim, which was like a series of Vedic hymns, Rishikulyam. Like if you go to a Gurukula, where small boys will be there, they will be practicing chanting mantras. Systematically in a meter, rhythm, and in a raga, tala, everything combination they pronounce in such a way. It is like a series of verses continuously, half an hour, 1 hour they are singing. So like that, Lord's words were like that, continuous singing. Now further, what it had impact? Satim vyadhaya srunvanto. That speech, how was that speech? It was very excellent. Satim, excellent. Vyadhaya, with attentive oral reception when they heard. Shrunvantaha, by hearing. Lagavim guru ata gahvaram. They, which were properly composed. The speech was properly composed. Lagavim. And Guru Artha Gahvaram. It was very difficult to understand because the subject was very serious. Guru Artha. The meaning, the deep import was very strong. Gahvaram. It was very difficult for them to comprehend what was Lord's communication. Vigahya agada gambiram. And Vigahya agada gambiram. They started pondering. They started trying to contemplate what was communicated to them, because it was very grave, gambiram. Na vidustas chikirshitam. But they could not understand what the Lord's intentions were. Tat chikirshitam. What Lord wanted to do, or what Lord expected them from us, they could not come to any conclusion. Tat chikirshitam, they could not come, they could not understand what was the Lord's intention. So it says, the Lord's excellent speech was difficult to comprehend. Satim lagavim gahvaram. Because of its momentous import and its most profound significance. Guru artaha. It's like heavy import, Guru Artha, very heavy subject. The sages heard it with wide open ears and pondered it as well. Vigahya agada gambiram shunvantaha. But although hearing Vyadaya shunvanto, they could not understand what he intended to do. Na vidustat chikirshitam. So they were saying, we are confused. We could not understand the meaning of or the purpose of Lord's speech. What was his conclusion? Whether he was angry upon us or whether he was satisfied with us. They could not comprehend the purport of the speech or what the Supreme Lord wanted to do, nor could they understand whether the Lord was angry or pleased with them. So this was their confusion state. So what made them confused? So let us recap what Lord spoke in the last 10 verses and how this to be understood. The first he said, Kadarti krutya mam yadvo bahu akratam atikramam. So my doorkeepers have committed a great offense against you by ignoring me. Kadarta means ignoring me, they have committed an offense towards you. Then Brahma teja samartopi hantum neicha matam tunme. Even though I am capable of withdrawing these verses, Brahma Shapa, but I am not willing to do this Shapa. Let it be executed. Tadhi atmakritam manye. The Lord is saying, whatever it has happened, I consider this as mine. Why? My servant has done a mistake, so I take the responsibility as master. I take this as an offense by myself. Soham bhavabdya upalabdha shrutirtha kirti chindyam swabahumavi. If the mistake has been committed by me, I am ready to lop off my hand. He is saying, I am ready to cut my hand. If I found something fault within me. Means Lord is saying, even though my assistants have committed mistakes, I am ready to punish them. Then yet sevaya. Why I have got so much name for me? Because of I am the servitor of my devotees. I serve my devotees, that's why I am most glorified. Naham tadadmi. I do not enjoy oblations offered by sacrificers in the sacrificial fire. I eat through the mouths of the Brahmanas. Esham bibarmi. I take the dust of the lotus feet of the Brahmanas on my head. They are so great. They are preaching my glories everywhere. I take the dust on my of their lotus feet on my head. If I do, whole world, who will not do that? And duhatir madiyaha, the Brahmanas and cows, they represent my own body. They are my physical representations in this material world. They represent me as walking personalities in this material world. So in a way, he glorified the Brahmanas in such a way, the Kumaras were confused. Did we do a mistake or did we please him? Did we anger him? Did we satisfy him? Because the Lord's speech was in a highest elevation and Kumaras could not come to any conclusion of that perspective. Why? Because at that particular moment they were all anger. That anger mood, they were controlled by anger. Because why did they become angry? They were obstructed in their devotional service. What was the devotional service? They had heard about the Lord and they had meditated about the Lord for such a long time. Now they wanted to physically see that Lord which He was visible in their hearts. They have been inspired by their father Lord Brahmā to understand about the Lord. So now to comprehend that understanding, they wanted to theoretical to practical, they wanted to implement that. So out of that inquisitiveness, they came to Vaikuntha to have darshan of that Lord whom they have been meditating for such a long time. But suddenly somebody had obstructed them at the last moment. This is not at the first gate. If you have been obstructed, then no problem. At the seventh gate, they have been obstructed. Like when you are about to eat your most favorite sweet, when it is about to enter the mouth, somebody is holding your hand. You cannot eat. So that last moment when that anxiety, that conclusion, that the pinnacle of that subject, and you are stopped from there. So they became angry. What happens when somebody becomes materially angry? What Bhagavad Gita says? Anger, sammoha, smriti vibhramaha, buddhinashaha, pranashyati. Materially would have been, people can't understand what they are doing. Because their intelligence is lost, discriminational capacity is lost, they are under delusion. This is called as fit of anger. Materially, fit of anger. How do we exhibit that fit of anger? हाथ में जो भी वस्तु है फेंक देंगे और बाजू में कोई भी वस्तु है धक्का मारेंगे. We kick. Either it is earth, vastu or something like that. That's how we exhibit our anger. We exhibit our anger through our senses. But did Kumaras exhibit that anger materially? Are they materially like normal person? No. They are all highly elevated personalities. So how, did anger cover their consciousness? No. Because they were feeling that guilt now upon them. By seeing the Lord and Lord's behavior. Like sometimes, for example, Prabhupada gives one example. There might be two enemies. One enemy would have come as a guest to somebody's house. You have to treat him in such a way, even the enemy will feel, "Arey, what a mistake I have done. I was thinking very wrongly about him." He should never experience that he has come to an enemy's house. He should be covered, or he should be conquered by that service. So now Kumaras have been conquered by the Lord's words. They felt like, "Arey, what we have done? Maybe we have done an offense by unnecessarily cursing these two doorkeepers. They are not at fault." Actually, they are not at fault. Why? Kumaras were not qualified to enter into Vaikunta. What was their conditioning? Impersonal liberation, impersonal understanding. With impersonal understanding, can you enter into Vaikunta? They are not allowed. The Kumaras were, the stopping of Kumaras were correct only. But still, this is a pastime of the Lord to say how the touch of the Lord's lotus feet, the smell, the fragrance itself will change the consciousness of people who are into impersonal realization into personal realization. The transformation is one of the aspects in this pastime. How people can become from impersonalistic understanding to personal understanding. From a Brahman future to Bhagavan future. And one more reason will be there, that will be explained in the further verses. Now, how do we understand this anger? What happens when we become angry? So this is explained in the context of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj had a brother whose name was Uttama. So once this boy went to a forest for hunting. So some Gandharva or some person from that category killed Uttama. So as a king, it is responsibility, because Dhruva Maharaj was the emperor, it is his responsibility, and because of personal loss, he became so angry, he started attacking that Yakshas. And because of his anger, he started destroying the entire Yaksha kingdom. Not one person, but many people were killed. At one particular point, they attacked him fully. At one particular point, he attacked them fully. Seeing the situation, Swayambhu Manu, his grandfather, he came to him and he started preaching to him and explaining to him what the duties of a king, emperor and a family man should be. So he started suggesting, you are a great personality, because in your childhood itself you have absorbed the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At a small age you are able to connect to the Supreme Lord. So what is these material considerations for you? Family, relationships, all these things does not exist on material platform, on spiritual perspectives. So if one person has done a mistake, you are punishing many other people who have not done any mistake. So in that way he inspired him, and instructed him what are the plus and minus if you do something which is not authorized by Shastra. So at that point he starts saying about what is problem with anger. He says, Samyacha rosham bhadramte pratipam shreyasam param shutena bhuyasa rajan agadena yatamayam. He is saying, my dear Rajan, my dear king, just consider what I have said to you. Shreyasam param, what is the best for you? I am trying to update to you. Shreyasam param, which is Shreyasaha, ultimate good, and param, which is highest. Consider this. Agadena yatamayam. This is like a medicinal treatment to your disease. Samyacha rosham. Control your anger. Or else what happens? Pratipam. Or else it is the foremost enemy. One's anger is one's foremost enemy. On the path of spiritual realization, anger is your greatest enemy. Shishi Radha Govinda ki. Bhadrante Shrutena Bhuyasa. I wish all good fortune unto you. Shrutena Bhuyasa. Please follow my instructions. So what is he saying further? Enopasushtat Purushat Loka Vidvijate Brisham Na Buddhastad Vasham Gachet Ichyan Abhayam Atmanaha. He says, Buddhas Purushaha, a person who desires liberation from this material world, Buddha, one who is intelligent, a person, one who is intelligent, what is his endeavor? He is aspiring for liberation from this material world. So, Ichyatam Abhayam Atmanaha, who is experiencing or who is desiring Abhayam, free from this Bhaya, Atmanaha, of the spirit soul, Na tad vasham gachet, he should not come under the control of anger. At any time, if somebody is aspiring for liberation in this material world, he should not come under the control of anger. Why? Enopasushtat, because when one becomes angry, he becomes bewildered by anger. Ena upasushtat, and loka udvijite brisham, he becomes a dread for all others. See, when we become angry on one person, is that anger limited to that one person or to people all surrounding by? एक के ऊपर ज्यादा मिलेगा, बाकी के ऊपर थोड़ा थोड़ा तो मिलेगा. सबको तो प्रसादम मिलेगा, एक को तो महाप्रसादम मिलेगा. Like in a bench, if one person did a mistake, teacher will come, beat him, but sitting next to him, he will also get something small. Because this is what Manu is saying. Loka Vudvijite Brisham, it will create problem for other surrounding people also. Like one Yaksha committed a mistake, you are destroying the entire Yaksha Loka. Understood? That's how the anger takes away one's consciousness. So he's saying, better don't come under the control of anger. If you are a person who are aspiring for liberation, never come under the control of anger. And Bhagavatam says, how is this anger? This is like a thunderbolt from the sky, which gives no reason to fall. Is there any specific reason where thunderbolt has to fall? No control, no? Where thunderbolt will fall? So we don't know. If somebody is angry, where his anger will be dissipated. So that is his nature of this anger. So in Vaishnava perspective, how do we treat this perspective? How do we treat this? So there was a similar circumstances in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and his son-in-law Amoga, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's perspective. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, after he became converted from impersonalistic liberation to a pure devotee perspective, so he understood to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was by feeding prasadam. He and his wife personally used to cook for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with so many items, so much quantity. Other than that, they used to accumulate all the Jagannatha's offerings also. So they used to arrange one room where only one entrance is there, so that nobody can see what was being served inside or what was being done inside. So all the arrangements were made and so much items were left in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, seeing that, he said, "Arey, what are you doing? This is like a Govardhana hill, Annakot. Then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, sir, this is very small. You compare my offering to Jagannatha's offering. You are Jagannatha there. You eat so much quantity. That quantity is like one time offering is of like thousands of people food is one time offering for the Lord. So if it is like one time offering of 1,000 people, I am offering you of one morsel, he says. So this is very small, this is negligent. And you eat many times there in Jagannath temple, from morning till night, that quantities you eat. This is one time I am offering, one bhiksha. Because sannyasis eat only one time lunch. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was conquered by the words of Sarvabhauma, he could not say no. Then he started eating, he said, I will eat only very little. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya used to serve little only many times. So in that way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was eating. Suddenly, that Amogha, who was a boy, he was son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he is little fault finder. His mentality is of identifying mistakes from everyone. So he suddenly came there and he saw the situation. He saw the food that was placed in front of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then what happened? We will see. Hena kale Amogha Bhattacharyera Jhamata Kulina Nindaka Tenho Sati Kanyara Bharta. The same time, Jhamata, the son-in-law, the in-house son-in-law. In-house son-in-law means Illarikam. He is being maintained by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Hena kale Amogha Bhattacharyera Jhamata Kulina, a learned man, aristocratic Brahmana family he is from. Nindaka tenho ya sati kanyara bharta. But he was a great fault finder and blasphemer. Nindaka. Bhojana dekite chahe asite na pare. Lati hate Bhattacharya achena duyate. So he always wanted to see what is that happening secretly in that room. But whenever he desired to go there, Bhattacharya was sitting there with a lati in his hand, with a stick. Tenho yadi prasad dite hoila anamana Amogha asi anna deki karaya nindana. Because he knew this boy will start commenting on wrongly. So, but as soon as Bhattacharya went inside to serve items for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this boy suddenly came there and he saw the whole situation. Ye anna trupta hoya dasa bara jana. He said, this food is sufficient for 10-12 people. Ekala sannyasi kare eteka bhakshana. He is saying one person is eating food which is of 10-12 people here. He started commenting like that. Sunite Bhattacharya ulati chahila. So when Bhattacharya heard this, he became angry and with his fierce eyes he started, mere ko khana nahi hai. Wo bhag gaya. Bhattacharya lati lana marite dharila. So with a stick, the Bhattacharya started running behind him to hit him. Palaila Amogha tara laga na paila. And see, young man versus old man. So that boy was an young man, he started running so swiftly that Bhattacharya was not able to catch him. Tabe gali shapa dite Bhattacharya aila. He started scolding him, he started cursing him. Bhattacharya came back. Ninda suni Mahaprabhu hasite lagila. Such a learned scholar scolding that words and all. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was laughing. Why? Such a grave personality, Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was a teacher to sannyasis. Suddenly he was hearing bad words from his mouth. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was astonished. Arey, aapko bhi bad words aata hai? Such a great personality speaking some bad words. He was very like laughing in a scenario. Suni Satira Mata Sire Buke Ghata Mare. Then Satira Mata means the wife of Bhattacharya. When she heard the issue, she started beating her head. Arey, what a mistake has done, what a mistake has done. Sati Randi Hauka, Iha Bole Bara Bara. Let my daughter become, what do you say, a widow. Let that boy be died. Dunhara Dukka Deki Prabhu, Dunha Prabodhiya. Seeing the moroseness of both the wife and husband, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started preaching them, consoling them. Dunhara Ichate Bhojana Kaila Tushtahana. But on the request of both the devotees, he ate satisfied by eating the prasadam there. Achmana Karana Bhatta Dila Mukavasa. After washing his hand, the Mukavasa was given to the Lord. Tulsi Manjari Lavanga Ilachi Rasavasa. What was that Mukavasa? After eating that food, that mouth freshener. tulasi, lavanga, ilaichi. They were the mouth fresheners. Sarvange Paraila Prabhura Malya Chandana. Then entire his body was anointed with Chandana, sandalwood pulp, and garland was placed on his neck. Dandavat Hana Bale Sadainya Vachana. So in a humble state of mind, he paid obeisances and he started offering requests. Ninda Karaite Toma Anainu Nijagare. He said, I have brought you to my house, this invitation only to blaspheme you. Hey Aparada Prabhu Kshama Kara Mora. He is saying, please forgive me for this offense what I have done. I have brought you only to blaspheme you to my house. Prabhu kahe, ninda nahe, sahaja kahila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this is not a blaspheme. He said correctly only. Ihate tomara kiba aparada hoila. When that boy said truth, what is your mistake? You have not done any mistake. Eta boli Mahaprabhu chelila bhavane. By saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started walking towards his house. Bhattacharya Tandra Gare Gela Tandra Sane. Bhattacharya started following him up to the house. Prabhu Pade Padi Bahu Atmaninda Kaila. So falling at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his house, he started self-reproach. Atmaninda. Tandra Shanta Kari Prabhu Gare Pataila. So making him pacified, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent him home. Garaasi Bhattacharya Satira Matasane. So with his wife, when he came back, Apana Nindaya Kichu Balena Vachane. Blaspheming himself or taking that self-reproach, he started speaking something. Chaitanya Goshanira Ninda Sunila Yaha Hoite Taravada Kaila Hoya Papa Parayaschite. If you have heard somebody blaspheming Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, killing him and committing my own self suicide is the Prayaschitta. Because a Brahmana was commenting and listened by one more Brahmana. So Brahmana cannot do Brahmahatya. So even though he would have killed, he could not commit suicide. So this is the situation. Kimva Nijaprana Yadi Kari Vimochana Dui Yogyana He Dui Sharira Brahmana. So I want to do this, to kill that person and to kill myself. But both these bodies are Brahmana bodies. I cannot do this. Punaha se nindakare mukana dekida parityaga kailun taranama na laiba. So he is saying, I am parityaga, I am forfeiting him. Do not ever take his name in my house. Satira kahe tara chaduka say haila patita. Say to his daughter Sati that your husband has been fallen and you do not associate with him. Patita hoila bharta tyajita uchita. And it's better to renounce him. If somebody has fallen from his religious principles, better to forsake him. Say ratre amoga katan palana gela. So he ran away somewhere that night. Nobody knows where he went away. Pratak kale tara vishuchika vyadi hoila. Next day morning he was attacked with vishuchika vyadi, cholera, where he vomits blood continuously. Amoga marena suni kahe Bhattacharya sahaya hoya daiva kaila mora karya. Then Bhattacharya, when he heard that Amoga is going to die, he said, the destiny has done its job for me. I wanted to kill him, now fate has killed him. Ishvarata aparada phale tatakshana eta boli pade dhui shastrera vachana. So this is the result of committing an offense. And this is what Shastra is saying. He started quoting some verses. Then Gopinath Acharya gela Prabhura Darshane. Gopinath Acharya went to have darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the morning. Prabhu Tandra Puchila Bhattacharya Vivarane. What is happening at Bhattacharya's house? Prabhu asked him. Acharya kahe Upavasa kaila dui jana. Both wife and husband are doing Upavasa. Vishuchika vyadite amoga chadi he jivana. And there was one disease, Vishuchika vyadi, and Amoga is about to die. It came in the morning and he is about to die in the morning itself, very soon. Suni Kripamaya Prabhu Aila Dhana. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feeling very compassionate, he started running towards the place where Amoga was there. Amogera kahe tara bhuke hastadiya, touching his chest. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started speaking to Amoga. Sahaja nirmala ye brahmana hrudaya. The heart of a brahmana was Sahaja, very pure, and Nirmala, very pacified. Krishnara Vashite ye Yogyasthana Haya. And this is the place for Lord Krishna's, fitting place for Lord Krishna to stay. Mascharya Chadala Kena Ihan Vasaile. So leave this envious attitude, Mascharya. of a chandala or a jealousy of a sit, and why it is sitting there of a very bad quality of mascharya, chandala, that mentality, why it is sitting in your heart, which is a place fit for sitting for Krishna's place. Parama pavitra sthana apavitra kaila, the most purified place you have contaminated it by making some chandala or that consciousness to sit in your heart. Sarvabhauma Sanghe Tomara Kalusha Hailakshaya, by associating with Sarvabhauma, all your contaminations are vanquished now. Kalusha Haya, Kshaya. Kalmasha Guchile Jiva Krishna Namaloya. When your heart is cleansed of all contamination, he will be able to chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Uta Amoga Tumi, Lavo Krishna Nama. Get up Amoga and chant the holy name of Krishna. Achire Tomara Krupa Karibe Bhagavan. And very soon Lord will be blessed and pleased with you. Suni Krishna Krishna Boli Amoga Utila Premonmad Matta Hona Nachite Lagila. So he got up and he started dancing and chanting and everything. In an ecstasy he was there by the touch of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Kampa Ashru Pulaka Stamba Sveda Swarabhanga Prabhu Hase Deki Tara Premera Taranga. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was laughing with his Asta Satvika Vikara, what was coming out of his body. Prabhura Charane Dari Karaya Vinaya Aparada Kshama Mora Prabhu Dayamaya. Oh my dear most merciful Lord, please forgive me. I have done an offense at your lotus feet. Chara Mukhe Tomara Karinu Nindana. This contaminated mouth has blasphemed you. Eta Boli Apana Gale Chadaya Apane. And he started hitting his face so hard. Chadita Gala Fulaila. And that face became swollen because of his hitting. Hate Dari Gopinath Acharya Nishedila. Then Gopinath Acharya held his hands and restricted him from beating his own cheeks. Prabhu Aswasan Kare Sparshitara Ghatra Sarvabhauma Sambandhe Tumi Mora Sneha Patra. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified Amoga by touching his body. And he said, you are the recipient of my affection because you are in relation with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Gruhe Dasa Dasi E Kukura Seha Mora Priya Anyajana Rahudura. So if a servant, maid servant or female or male servant, even a dog in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house is very dear to me because of relation with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And what to speak of any other family members. Aparada Nahi Sada Lavo Krishnanama. This is not a reference. Now chant the holy name. Eta Boli Prabhu Aila Sarvabhauma Sthana. Saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Sarvabhauma's place. Prabhu Deki Sarvabhauma Darila Charane Prabhu Tanre Alingeya Vasaila Asane. So Chaitanya, as soon as he saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he paid obeisances. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced him and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya gave him an asana to sit down. Prabhu kahe, Amoga Shishu, Kiba Tara Dosha. He is a small boy. He is being maintained by you. What is his fault? Kena Upavasa Kara, Kena Kara Rosha. Why are you angry at him? Why are you doing Upavasa? Uta Snana Kara, Deka Jagannatha Mukha, Sigra Asi Bojana Kara, Tabe Mora Sukha. He said, I will be very pleased when you get up, take bath and go have darshan of Jagannatha, then eat prasadam, then I will be very happy. Tavad Rahiba Ami Etaya Vasiya. As long as you do this and come back and have eat your food, I will stay here. Yavatna Kaiba Tumi Prasada Asiya. Unless you eat your food, I will stay here that much time. Prabhu Pada Dari Bhatta Kahite Lagila. Holding his feet, Bhattacharya said, Marita Amoga Tara Kena Upjiyaila. Let him die. Why did you bring him back to life? Prabhu kahe, Amoga Shishu Tomara Balaka. Balaka Dosha Nalaya Pita Tahate Palaka. When you are maintaining him, it is your duty to correct him. It is not your duty to punish him and forsake him. Eba Vaishnava Haila Tara Gela Aparada. Now he became a Vaishnava. There is no offense now. Tahara Upara Eba Karaha Prasada. Now be merciful upon him. Bhatta kahe, Chala Prabhu Ishvara Darshane, Snanakari Tanha Muni Ashinchon Ekane. He said, my dear sir, please go to have darshan. I will immediately take bath and I will follow you to have darshan. Prabhu kahe Gopinatha, Ihani Rahiba, stay here. Inho Prasada Paile Varta Amake Kahiba. So he has eaten that food, please inform me that he has eaten that food. Eta Bali Prabhu Gela Ishvara Darshane, Bhatta Snana Darshana Kari, Karila Bhojane. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to have darshan and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sat there to eat the prasadam. Say Amoga Haila Prabhura Bhakta Ekanta. He became unalloyed devotee, that Amoga. Prema Nache Krishna Namalaye Maha Shanta. He became very peaceful man and he became very ecstatic by chanting the holy name. Aiche Chitra Leela Kare Sachira Nandana Yei Deke Sune Tandra Vishmaya Hoyamana. So these are the ecstatic pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which are very astonishing. Anybody hears them, anybody listens to them, and anybody understands them, even they become astonished. So that is, see the situation, two devotees, two Brahmanas, again two get offended. How Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pacified the situation and brought back consciousness upon both of them. The same thing here. The both Kumaras and doorkeepers, both are devotees. Now to had to handle the situation between two devotees. When one becomes angry, how to pacify them, how to adjust the situation. That's what Lord has done here also. So such is the mood. So he is for his devotees. Either he will correct them or purify them. That is the consciousness of the Lord. So Kumaras will also be corrected. Jai Vijaya will also be corrected. Now what will happen, we'll see in the further verses. I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki